Steve Johnson's with us. Yes, I can see him. Steve, do you want to give us your monthly update?
Sure. Share my screen. Okay. So, not sure if we were able to report this last month or not, but the roof is substantially complete. So I know it's hard to see, so I'll zoom in a little bit. Everything that's white here is permanent roof, and you'll see that every roof is now white. The roofer's still on site. There's some edge metal that goes around the perimeter of the roofs, and there's minor patching and touch up and finish work that they're doing. But the field of all the roof is complete, which is pretty exciting for us. Also to note on this view is this south elevation here. The brick is done, and you can, if I zoom in a little bit, these are the permanent windows and the permanent glass is in on the south side. So this is building C here. And then if we go over, building B has it and building A is the same. These are the permanent frames and the permanent glass in on that side, which is great as well. Other notes from this elevation, we're going to start to see some more staging along the exterior here so we can get a jump as soon as the weather hits. I know it's warm this week, but it might dip down again, but we're going to get geared up to continue masonry activities, block activities on the south side here in the next couple of weeks. So you'll start to see staging there. And then if we buzz around to, this is a new shot, front of the building, where we can see that there's a lot of permanent brick that's been installed on either side of the main entrance here. And then if we zoom in a little further, we've got some permanent curtain wall frames that have started to be installed. And then down on the first level, these are storefront frames, permanent frames that are starting to be installed as well. We've got glass coming next week. And then pretty much every 1 to 2 weeks, we'll get deliveries of glass to help to start to finish these elevations off as well. So that's good news for us. Other views. This is just another shot showing this is the south of building A. More progress here. This is the shot from, say, the Rotary. You'll see a lot of the AVB is done. We're actually at the point where the AVB contractor pulled off for a little bit because they ran out of work, which is a good problem to have. So we're finishing up some more AVB areas for them to come back next week, hopefully. Nothing new to report on the field. We did have some punch list items that were taken care of. There's a couple minor ones left that we're hoping to hit this week. And then KBA is going to come out and take a look at it sometime next week, hopefully. But that's in good shape as well. This is the view from the other side, from heading from the existing school, if you will. And then if we dive into the building on the 4th floor, you'll see that we've started a lot of the casework. Oh, my computer froze a little bit here. We've started casework. We've got the ceiling framing in, ceiling grids in. We've got some paint going in both the classroom and the labs on the 4th floor. This is a shot of the corridor. A lot of the finished drywall is done and taped, getting ready. The next stage in there is there's tile that goes on the wall, and we'll be painting in the corridor on the 4th floor. This is a shot of one of the classrooms on the 4th floor. You see the casework. This is the coat and backpack hooks. Then we'll go down. This is just a view from on the 2nd floor, a little delayed here. Just a lot more framing, a lot more drywall being installed now, which is great to see. 1st floor is, this is another shot standing at the top of the monumental stair, looking back, looking down onto the cafeteria. Again, you can kind of see, if we zoom in here, more framing, more finished framing going in. And then the 1st floor is the will be the last section to get the framing and drywall, but there's a lot of progress down on the first floor as well. This is actually, I think, a week or so old. So there's even more framing that's been completed on the first floor here. And then this is a shot of, this is just the future auto repair shop. Just looking back from building K into the rest of the building. And then the other activities we have, spray fireproofing continues. They'll be back next week or later this week, and hopefully they're on site for, say, the next 4 or 5 weeks so they can be completely finished. We're at the point now where we believe our structural steel work is 100% done, and the structural steel sub is going to demobilize. Our Miss Metal sub continues on all the stairs in the building and other, small angle work. And then other than that, we're just chugging along, working our way on the ABC building down from 4 to 1.
Steve, you mentioned at this morning's meeting about the power changeover.
Oh, yes. So good point, Jack. So the exterior, we have, let me go to this view. We've got our permanent temporary power completed. So that's good news because that means we get rid of all the temporary generators that we have on site. On Saturday, we got a crew coming in to make all the terminations so that we can get rid of the temp generators and just work off the permanent temp power. So that's a nice milestone for us to hit.
And National Grid will be billing the project for the electric use then, correct?
Yep, that's budgeted into the project.
Okay. Any committee members have questions on the progress or the schedule or what's occurring?
Jack, if I may, not so much a question, but or a substantive comment whatsoever, but that front view that you showed, Steve, I don't know about anyone else, but that put a huge smile on my face. That, you drive by it and you don't really appreciate the magnitude of the building or the progress all at once, like this shot encapsulates. So great work. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. I don't know why we weren't taking this shot from day one. It just occurred to us that to make it a new progress update photo. So we'll keep showing it each month.
One of the things we discussed this morning, Steve, is when the north-south connector would be paved. Do you want to just briefly talk about that?
Yeah, so we talked about, let me get there's another better view here. This is the better view. So Jack's referring to this section here as you come off the rotary and then head down here to connect to the south end of Rathbun Willard. That will be completed in time for the turnover of the new building in June of 2022.
So 15 months or so from now?
Yep.
And then that will be open for travel then, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So this temporary fence will come down. This permanent, remember, this is still the temporary condition here because the permanent road actually cuts off our access to the back of the building, quite honestly. So that's why we held off on it. It's more of a 90-degree turn into the middle school here. So this will be complete as well as the connector to the rotary, open for traffic.
And the rotary will also be constructed?
Yes. Yep. Rotary will be complete for the open of school as well.
Excellent. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? I guess you're all just in awe. So, Steve, I guess do we go to the change logs?
Sure. So Jeremy had sent those out. I'll keep this view up to distract you from the talk of money. The GCR log, we'll start with that first. And the new ones that we haven't discussed start at number 45 towards the bottom of the page. And we'll just buzz through them briefly. Item 45, additional steel supports at operable partitions. There's two operable partitions that actually have a pocket, and the doors, the panels are offset. And in these two locations, there was some additional steel required based on the weight of the doors. So that actually is in the works. There's some credits involved in that. So the number you see on the page is actually going to come down a little bit, which is good news. Item 46, gym entry clarifications. Just some clarifications on the masonry finish. And then the stone detail was brought into on the inside of the building a little bit, and some framing was revised there. So we're getting through pricing and working through that with KBA. Item 47, electrical outlet revisions in the media center. This actually is coming in at no change. The subs aren't charging us for this one. It's just some duplex outlets turned into quads and work like that. So not a whole lot of cost to the subs, so they're not charging us anything. Item 48, miscellaneous fire smoke damper revisions. There's 4 locations where fire smoke dampers are required per code, but they weren't shown on the drawing, so this adds them in. Item 49, playground revisions. It's over here on the east side when the project is done. The playground, we added a shade structure was added, and there's some revisions to the tricycle path and the curb detail to match kind of what we did with the turf over on the western field. Item 50, revised framing at collaboration stair. That's just coordinating the framing with the structural aspects there. There's a little bit of tweaking that was done so everything would align properly there and look correct. Item 51, added relieving angles on the north. There's a section where we had 4 stories of brick, and there was not relieving angles shown, so we had to add some relieving angles to properly support the masonry there. Item 52, fire extinguisher cabinet coordination. KBA reviewed the travel distances and compared against the code, and there's some locations where we had to add some fire extinguishers, and then some other locations where tweak the height of the location of the fire extinguisher so it wasn't like halfway in tile, halfway out of tile, because that's not pleasing to see. Item 53, additional piping at eye wash. There's a couple of eye washes that were shown architecturally, but on the plumbing side, the piping was not shown, so that was added. And then added lab turrets. Same thing, architectural showed them. The plumbing drawings needed to catch up and show the proper piping there. So all those that I just described, with the exception of the outlets at the media center, are still under review by Consigli and the design team in Skanska. No permanent numbers yet, actual numbers that we can report. A lot of estimates right now, and we're working through those with the rest of the team. And then for contingency, I should say, so the number shown on the bottom, the total to date, the 602,000 number, again, it might come in a little under that, but let's just, for sake of argument, say that's the total that we're at now. That would represent maybe roughly 27% in change order costs versus what was allocated for change orders, compared to we're close to 40% complete with the construction. So again, we want that first number to always be under the second number, or never be equal, actually. So the fact that we're 27% and we're 40% complete with construction is a good trend and a good sign. Then as far as contingency items, there's only one new one from last month, and it's GCT 016, 120 volt power connections at RTUs. This was a procurement issue. The HVAC subcontractor, the 120 volt power was required for their units, but but they didn't own that power, so they had excluded it, and it wasn't caught in time to catch it with the electrician. So we had to circle back with the electrician and have them price it up. So that's a contingency item. Again, does not add money to the GMP. We had money set aside for issues like this. So that's the only new one from last month.
Okay, anybody have any questions on the logs as presented? Hearing none. Steve, are there some things you're asking us to approve?
Yes. Yes, we'll start with contingency items. There's 3 contingency items we'd like approval on. I'll name all 3 of them. GCT 003, roof edge safety coordination for $18,352.92. This was coordinating the safety requirements with the actual installation of the permanent materials and just the sequencing involved in order to do it correctly and not affect the permanent finishes. We had to make some revisions with the roofing contractor and the way things were constructed. And then we tracked some of it on time and materials. Item GCT 014, Area E canopy revisions. This is actually insulation revisions. This was just unbought scope. There's some insulation that goes in the underside of the canopies that none of the trade contractors owned. Typically when there's insulation, there's a finished product that's on top of it. So our mason owns some because their masonry is in front of it. Our metal panel sub owns some, but in this particular case, there wasn't a finished product. So it was just unbought scope. So now we bought that with our drywall contractor. That is $65,811.86. GCT 016 is the 120 volt power connection to the RTUs that I spoke of earlier. All 3 of these have been fully vetted by KBA, CES, the engineer, Skanska. Some of these we had a lot of fun talking about, but we're all in agreement on the numbers and the scope, and we think it's fair at this point. So we're seeking approval on these 3.
Any questions from the committee members? Hearing none. Jackie?
Move to approve them.
Terry?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Jeremy?
Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, sounds like that passed unanimously. Steve, next the allowance log?
Yeah, Jack, I'd like to jump to change order 6 if I could, please. Just
Sure.
while we're on changes.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're seeking approval of GCO 06, which has 5 changes associated with it. The first is GCR 028 H11 stair revisions per submittal review. So this is the stair that leads from the gym floor up to the fitness area. Revise some columns in the way that was supported. That is $8,548.24. GCR 034, soffit revisions at 3rd and 4th floor stairs. If you remember, this was one where the height of the soffit, based on the size of the ductwork and the framing, was maybe going to be a head knocker. So we revised the ductwork, reworked the duct in the framing to a tune of $17,612.08. GCR 036 was cafeteria duct damper revisions. This was actually a credit based on coordination with the structural trusses. So that's a credit of $5,843.73. GCR 037, central office layout revisions. So a couple offices turned into one office. There's some electrical changes, minor things here and there, sort of pluses and minuses, but it ended up being a 0 cost change to the project. And then GCR 47, electrical outlet revisions at Media Center. This is the one we talked about before where some duplex changed to quads. Again, no cost from the subcontractors. The reason we asked for the approval because it is a change in scope. So we're at least recording that there was no dollar change for the change in scope. So
Steve, are these things that we've all voted on previously to approve at the change proposal log level or not?
no, we discussed them, Jack, but we don't formally look for the approval until we get to the change order stage here. But they have all been, once again, fully vetted with KBA, Skanska, and the engineers.
Okay.
So the grand total for the change order is $20,316.59.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Questions or comments from the committee members? Hearing none. Jackie,
Move to approve them.
Second.
thank you. Any further discussion? Jeremy?
All right, Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, that passed unanimously. So now do we go back to the allowance log, Steve?
Yes. Yeah, that not much to update on the allowance log. All good news, actually. There's nothing that we're overly nervous about here. Our temp heating cost is falling in line with what was projected, and with the warm weather, we're able to literally shut off the temp heat, which saves money on the propane because that is not cheap. But overall, it's projecting to be at budget, and other allowances. We're starting to close out some of the steel allowances as the structural steel sub is finishing up. And all the others are either just scope that we haven't started yet or ones that are going to be there for the duration, like cleaning and dumpsters and the like. And they're all trending in the correct direction. They're all trending at or under budget.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions on that? Hearing none. Do you have anything else for us tonight, Steve?
No, I think I've talked enough, Jack.
Understood. Then I think from there, unless any committee members have questions for Steve, we should go to Craig. Craig, you're muted.
Yep, I'm here.
There you are.
Present. Yep. So as far as what we're wanting to review tonight, Steve did a great job capturing everything, even that image. I had yet to see that image, so I thought that was a really powerful one that Steve created. But I am here to share my screen.
Go right ahead.
Yep. I'm still a rookie at this, I think.
Well, seems like
I need a couple more years to get there.
Yeah.
So I figured I would pop this up after Steve's powerful image of the rendering of the building. Kind of to give where we're going with it. But we're here just to recap from comments that we received. Bear with me if I get people seasick here. But so with the outdoor classroom, we created it, and so what we've done is we've taken a path, we pushed it up into the embankment a little bit that was already there, the berm, and so it allows a path to go by, and then this is more of a little detour off of it. So we started to kind of get up there. You can see, so we really didn't change the overall design we presented last time, but more just a modification of sliding the sidewalk, the existing sidewalk that was part of the original design, down a little ways and then sliding this up. I don't know if there's additional discussion that is needing to be had.
Have we priced this yet?
Steve?
No, it is out for pricing, Jack. We have not received all the pricing back from our vendors and subs yet.
Okay, but in terms of the concept, it looks to me like it answers the questions we raised so that the people going from this parking area to other places along the front of the building will not interrupt the class. So it looks to me like that problem has been solved. I'll throw it open to the committee members. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, sorry, Jack, I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Mike.
So I guess my question is probably more for Principal Rooney. So how many individual classrooms are there in the high school?
Oh, I think there's 63, aren't there?
That's consistent with my recollection.
Yeah, I mean, it's all open to interpretation when you add, there's academic classrooms plus the related in the CTE shops and all of those, but so I even can't remember how many classrooms. It was so long ago from a programming standpoint.
So I guess in leading up to my question, so we have potentially 63 teachers or whatever that are going to be competing for this one area?
I'm not sure we could create 63 outdoor spaces, Mike.
And it's a lot more than 63 teachers too.
I'm just having a hard time, with the concept about, who is it really for? Is it for everybody? How is it shared? Are we going to have the haves and the have-nots, or that's my only concern, and whether or not this is something that's reimbursable by the MSBA because it's outside of the building.
Well, let me answer that last question, Mike. It will not be reimbursable because it's site work and we're over the 8% on site work. So it would be coming out of our share of the contingency if the cost was reasonable. But I understand your point that it does cause a scheduling issue for the principal, correct, Bill?
I mean, it does to some extent. I do believe that, our staff has displayed a tremendous amount of collaboration, especially recently during the pandemic when they've had to, sometimes share Chromebook carts and different things like that. We've got, one mini auditorium. Currently, we're going to end up having 4 collaboration spaces once the new building is finished. There will be times where people will want to compete over this, but there's a sign up system and people are pretty good about planning things ahead. And I think that they're also pretty good at adjusting that if they go to the sign up calendar and it's not available, then they'll just probably adjust their lessons and pick a different day so that they have access to it.
From my point of view, I don't think the scheduling of it is going to be too much of a hard thing to do because we have a shared Zoom account at City Hall and we use it for all the different departments. And basically, it's something that you can do online with, like some type of Google application. It should be pretty easy for teachers to reserve it in advance. I don't think it'll be an issue. Is Clemson a convenience store? What is that?
I don't know. Did they win the national championship this year? I can't remember.
Don't go there.
I think that was a good point, Mayor. Mike, did your concerns get answered?
Yeah, I think the majority of them did, Jack. I mean, I have multiple concerns about it, but I will add, all I can picture too is it requires additional, and don't take the terminology wrong, but policing of the area. I mean, if somebody decides they're going to sit down and just have a sandwich or for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden there's a classroom that's coming out there in the next 5 minutes. I mean, it's just logistics that I'm more worried about than anything else. Or whether or not there's going to be signage here saying that this is a classroom area. It's not to be used for lounging or seating or, that's all. I'm just worried about the logistics of it. I'm sure they could work it out. But it's something that's going to take a little more thought because it wasn't part of the original scope of the plan. That's all.
Well, I think that's a good point. And we had a discussion this morning about some additional signage that might be necessary. Signage that I don't think we're really ready to present yet, but I think certainly signage that would indicate that it was an outdoor classroom area would be appropriate. Wouldn't you think, Craig?
Yes.
Okay. Not sure what's on our screen now.
I was trying to get a night shot, but it's not playing nicely.
Okay.
The lights aren't turning on.
Okay. So I guess at this point, I think we should get the pricing on this so that we can make a decision, because obviously if it's a $200,000 item, we might think twice about it. And if it was a $2,000 item, we probably wouldn't think twice about it. So everybody comfortable with having Steve price this up?
Craig, before we move on, how many people would this comfortably seat, this outdoor classroom?
Yeah, it's sized to accommodate a full class.
Yeah, 24. It's a little not deceptive, but inaccurate in the way it's presented there. People can actually sit on, it's planned to be able to sit on the lower tier of stone and the upper tier of stone. Lower tier is using the top one as a backrest, but even though the people would be spaced intermittently between them, there's still enough space for 24 students there. Ooh.
Safe to say it's not to
Ants
scale.
life.
Safe to say it's what?
Not to scale.
Yes, it is. Well,
It's to
these
scale,
are
but
to
if you
scale,
look
yeah.
at the
Oh, it is to scale.
Yeah, yeah.
amount of people here, so there's places to sit on benches, as Joe's mentioned. There's where they could sit down low on the benches or on the pavers. It's intended, and then even they could sit on the hill behind that it's built into.
Other ones we've seen similar to this, that they've had students have preferred, some students prefer to sit down low with the back against the hopper stone, and some prefer to sit up on top. And even though that's the case, you still can fit 6 positions in each one of the stones. So it might just be that the people are scaled a little bigger. Paul, I think that's maybe what you meant.
They're all football players.
Yeah.
So again, are we comfortable with getting some pricing on this so that we can make a rational decision?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it that Terry's speaking for everyone. So we'll get the pricing.
I think it's worth getting a cost and figuring out from there if this is feasible.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Then Bill, you had something you wanted to bring up, and I'm not sure whether Craig or Steve was going to share the screen on that. Bill, do you want to talk about the naming of the Blue Pride area?
The retail spaces?
The retail spaces, yeah.
Sure. Steve, you are you ready? Not yet, but are you ready to?
Yeah, I'll grab it when you need me to.
All right. Since this project started, we have been kind of using the term mall as a placeholder for the area where the retail spaces are going to be operating out of. And just to remind everybody, the Blue Pride Bistro is going to be housed in the retail spaces area. Our partnership with Bristol County Savings Bank is going to continue, as they're going to have their instructional branch there. Our fledgling cosmetology program will operate out of the retail space area, and then also our graphic design program. And as the superintendent noted when I was meeting with him probably about 6 or 8 months ago, we should probably start thinking about formalizing the name and the branding for the retail spaces, because the term mall is becoming passe. They're not building malls anymore. Some malls are actually going out of business. And so started doing a little bit of market research in the building with some of our CTE students, some of our staff members. And I even talked to a couple of people on the construction site when I was on one of my Friday morning tours. And so I worked with one of our senior design students, Kelly Neuendorf. She's very talented, and gave her some concepts, and she came back with some designs. I took those designs to the operations and infrastructure subcommittee of the school committee. Mr. Domenici allowed me to attend that meeting. I made a presentation to them about the fact that we want to connote the fact that this is a community space that offers the relevant skills for our students to be able to showcase their CTE programs. And, you know, those soft skills of interpersonal relationships, the entrepreneur, the people, the way that they interact with the community, those are just as important sometimes as some of the things that they might be producing in the kitchen or, working on their computer. And so as we started to talk about some of this, we started thinking about the fact that our community has been so supportive of this project, and we're very grateful to them for that. And so as we started talking about it and we started honing in on a choice, we decided that we felt that the term marketplace gave the community the sense that we are open for business. We want you to come in and visit us and experience what it is that we have to offer. And so after meeting with the operations and infrastructure subcommittee, I presented this idea Monday night at the full school committee. And I'm proud to say that it passed unanimously, that space will be known as the Blue Pride Market Space. And Steve has a screen that he can share with some of Kelly's preliminary designs.
There it is.
And I think one of the things that, is really rewarding about this is the fact that, our current senior class has been robbed of so many opportunities. And they've known all along that they weren't going to be a part of this new building. But for Kelly to represent her class and have, a legacy component to the new building is something that I think is very special, especially during this difficult time.
And so therefore, don't know that we as a committee need to take a vote, but I think it's up to the school committee to do this, and they have. But we wanted everyone to be aware of the fact that it won't be the CTE Mall; it will be the Blue Pride Marketplace. Correct, Bill?
That is correct.
So, anybody have any questions or comments on the new branding?
Just that it was well received, both in the subcommittee, at the school committee, and the idea that this current graduating class, as we discussed, they, between their junior and senior year, they've taken quite a few hits with the global pandemic. So to have a member of the graduating class be able to help, add a piece to the building, we thought was highly appropriate, and she's extremely talented to boot. So we're, I'm sure we'll look at a few other samples, but many of these were very well received, and we were excited that like I said, the class of 2021 can play a part in the building.
Thank you. Anything else, Bill, that you want to add?
No, Jack, I'm all set. Thank you.
Good. Thank you all. So I'll go back to Craig. Craig, do you have something to talk to us about the TV studio?
Yeah. Make sure am I muted?
You're good.
Oh, good. All right. Yes, we when we originally had planned for this with the TV studio and that front video wall, because technology is evolving so quick, we had placed an allowance within the GMP, within the budget of the project, to procure this equipment at a later date during construction. And the intent was to also, some of this stuff requires engineering. So the intent was to utilize that as part of the design that with the consultant. So at this point, what we've done is we've actually provided a proposal to have it fall under our basic services, all the design, so that then all of the money that's been in the budget would be allocated towards procuring equipment for that TV studio and the video wall, to make sure that all the money is spent on the physical product and not on design services.
And so we've been given a proposal by CES LLC for $21,000, and that would be as a subcontractor to KBA?
Yes, CES is our mechanical and electrical consultant on the project. So as part of the proposal, we asked them to be the to procure. They have a subconsultant that's on the proposal that specializes in designing studios and video walls. So they brought him on as a partner to make sure that everything gets designed and engineered appropriately.
Okay, so do you need us to vote to approve this, Craig?
I would defer to Joe on this one.
I would think that this could be accommodated within our contract as it is. We would have to vote for it. I'm going to consult with Anjanette here too, if she's there. There she is. Would this be something that we would consider again, Anjanette, for our base contract, but with the additional services
That's
section?
correct.
So it would
That's
still
correct.
be within our contract sum. It wouldn't change the contract. I'm not sure, do we need a vote from the committee to move forward, or do we just need to present the proposal?
I think
Jeremy's
what
shaking his head.
I think what we've done in the past is whenever you had any additional services, we presented the proposal to the SPC, and they agreed to use those particular funds for the additional services. And then Jeremy, once that is the SPC does agree to that, then you would send a copy of the updated proposal to the MSBA for their record as well.
Yeah.
So are you saying we need to take a vote or not, Anjanette?
Yes.
Take a vote.
Take a vote.
Doesn't hurt.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions on this amendment for KBA to use CES?
What was the amount?
$21,000. It was in the package that Jeremy sent around to all the members. Okay, hearing nothing.
Yeah, Jack, I have a quick question on that.
Sure, Mike.
So I guess my question is there been any outreach to double ACS to get their input on this studio? Because I mean, this is a phenomenal city resource that Attleboro has, and these guys are really good at what they do. So just want to make sure that they're part of this whole operation.
Yeah, I think the answer to that question is yes, they are. But I'll leave that to Craig to address.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they've been involved from design a couple of years ago, where we've sat down and reviewed everything with them, with the building, making sure that we provided any infrastructure that they would need in the new building to be able to televise, for instance, the professional development room, the gym, the auditorium, as we've all talked about, as well as the ability to then bring their current truck up to the current building, the new building, and just plug right in, so that it's very simple for them to operate in here. We have had discussions with them in regards to the studio and what would be required in there. We would definitely, once this has been approved, be moving forward and having them work directly with our consultant to make sure that their input is received and they're representing the best interest of Attleboro.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, Jack.
Go ahead.
Just so the roughly 21,000, looking at it quickly, I saw there were exclusions for reviewing submittals. So how, maybe just explain to me what their scope is in quick terms, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So we've built in the meetings and the design services and coordination, again, meetings with double ACS as well. When it talks to submittals, again, they're providing the design and they're providing what equipment that is needed to provide. So as far as submittals, there won't be, the submittals will be just a verification process of what they've specified.
Somebody needs to mute themselves. Okay, did we answer your question, Andrew?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, anybody have any other questions or comments?
Here, I have one, Jack.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Is that 21,000, is that budgeted into the thing, or is this gonna be an extra?
I'd like to answer that. This is Mary Ann. Yes, when we put together the budget for the entire project, we anticipated that there would be we identified the overall design, and then there would be some specialty items that would come under other basic services. So to answer your question, we're not over budget. We are utilizing the budget, and given that it's in that particular category, we feel as though it's important to be transparent and always bring the whole committee along with anything that has to do with spending money.
So are you saying that, yes, it's included in KBA's overall number already?
Yes.
That's correct, in the category of other basic services.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And technically, in that case, it's really not an amendment. We're just simply utilizing that pool of money that we had for those services at this time, but we're not actually changing our contract.
So the motion would be to authorize KBA to engage CES under their existing contract.
There
Is
you
that what you're, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before Jackie makes that motion, any other questions? Hearing none. Jackie?
Moved. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Jeremy?
Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry? Jerry,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes,
and Mayor.
Yes.
that's unanimous. Craig or Joe, do you have anything else to add for our meeting tonight? They're
Not have
shaking.
anything additional.
Okay, then I guess we'll turn to Skanska. Mary Ann and Anjanette?
Yes, the only thing I would like to add, I know we have to go through approving the bills, but I did want to say that the commissioning agent, the consultant that works directly for the MSBA, I ran into him on the job site about a week and a half ago. And I just wanted to report that he told me he goes out to a lot of job sites on behalf of the MSBA, looking at the quality of the installation of the work, the envelope system. And he just said that this was a really nice project. The quality of work was excellent. And minor comments, which are typical, but he said that we were really getting a nice product out of the subcontractors and consigli.
That's very good to hear. Then I see on our agenda the PFA bid amendment. Is there something we need to address there?
I just put that on there. We had been, Anjanette could probably give an update as well, but we had been back and forth with the MSBA. We brought it to SBC and there were some changes that needed to be had. I just wanted to update the committee that the city executed, we submitted to the MSBA. They've counter executed and sent it back, and we're updating everything in the MSBA ProPay system. So that's items wrapped up.
Good. Good.
I don't have anything to add to that. It's very, very well stated. Thank you, Jeremy.
Well, Anjanette, do you want to share your screen and show us the numbers?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So these are the invoices for the month, and Jeremy will go through the values that we have to be approved for this pay period. I did make a couple of adjustments. Mary Ann and I talked just to better reflect the overall project values and budgets and whatnot. And one of them is, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it says down here the GMP change order deducts.
Yeah, we can see that.
Perfect. Okay, so the change orders will come out of the construction contingency. So the number there, the $2,230,883 is our contingency. All of the change orders will come out of that. And to date, through change order 5, there was $174,520 in changes. So I'm calculating those values going forward. You can look over to the balance remaining, and that'll tell you what we have left in that particular line item there. The same goes for the owner's contingency. We had made adjustments pre-GMP to that when we had some additional utility work. So any adjustments will be tracked there going forward. And I did also above, I'm listing the change orders today. I will add change order number 6 for the next meeting. But overall, the construction is 42% complete per consigli's last requisition. And we are 44% complete overall with the project as far as the dollar value goes. So to date, we have invoiced $113,100,335, and we have about, well, $146,817,845 left to spend.
Okay, and let me just go back and ask Steve the regular monthly question. Are we on time? And I'll ask you, Anjanette, are we on budget?
On time, yes.
On budget, yes.
Good.
Yep.
So anybody have any questions on what Anjanette has shared with us? No questions again.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So we have a bunch of bills left to pay. The Skanska bill, is that okay, Jeremy?
Yep.
And the Castle Booze bill, is that okay, Mary Ann?
Yes.
And for everybody but Steve, the consigli bill for 7.8 million, that's okay?
Yes.
Okay, what is Intertech?
So Intertech does the window testing periodically as various ones are installed.
Okay.
So with Intertech and then STV, DPM, there you see 2 months of invoices here. We didn't have a chance to review theirs in time for the March meet for the prior meeting. These are the move management invoices. So as we have meetings and they prepare the program to move everything from the old high school to the new high school, we have some periodic invoices. So both the Intertech and STV and Briggs Engineering, which does materials testing, all 3 of those firms are reviewed by Skanska before they get put on here.
And FedEx is sending things to the MSBA.
FedEx is me, yep.
Okay. So we have a total of $8,065,498.46. Unless there's an objection, we'll take these all as one vote. Hearing none. Jackie?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Jeremy?
Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes?
and Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. So a reminder that our next meeting is April 14th, and the meeting after that is May 12th, which is a double header, in that we will be meeting at the site for a tour to start at 3:30. And then when we finish that, we can all go back to our computers, and some of us will come here, and we will have our regular monthly meeting. So if anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we adjourn? Hearing none, then a motion to adjourn would be in order for 6:32.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Jeremy?
Dave,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Bill,
Yeah.
I'm spending too much time with Craig. Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes,
and Mayor.
Yes.
we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank
you.
you. Night.
Good night. Thanks,
Night.
everybody.
Good night.
Ed, you were shaking your head over the outdoor classroom. Oh.